So the question asks, what are acute and obtuse angles? And hopefully you remember, acute angles are a lot of times what we say, little acute angles that are between 0 and 90 degrees. And then obtuse angles were kind of our bigger angles, and those angles were between 90 degrees and 180 degrees. So those kind of like the general definition of when we talked about acute and obtuse angles when you're dealing with your geometry class. But one thing I also want to mention now when we're talking about, when we're kind of be working with our unit circle, it's also important to recognize that what about the angles that are in radian form? Or not in radian form, but are measured in radians. So remember, when we're drawing a triangle, these are just different angles. These are also in standard form. But remember, we always start our angle on our initial side. So between 0 and 90 degrees are going to be in your first quadrant. So any angle that you are able to create that's between 0 and 90 in your first quadrant is going to be acute. And then any angle that's going to be between 90 and 180 in the second quadrant is going to become obtuse. Now, it's also important for us to understand, well, how can we write this then in terms of radians? Well, remember, here we say this is 90 degrees and this is 180 degrees. So how do we relate that in radians? Well, remember, halfway around a circle is pi, and half of that is pi over 2. So therefore, I can also rewrite this definition for all acute angles are all angles between 0 and pi over 2. And similarly, for obtuse angles would be all angles between pi over 2 and pi. So there you go. That's a definition right there and a couple two examples of an angle that are acute and an angle that's obtuse. So there you go, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you enjoyed. If you have any questions about that, please make sure you comment below and subscribe. Thanks.